Hey everybody, it's Alan Lowe, and we're here at the Flagler Voice podcast studio, powered by the U.S. News and Entertainment Network. Today, we have our emergency management episode, and with us today in studio is Jonathan, the director of our local emergency management team.
Well, thank you, Alan. Thanks for having us again. And yep, I am, as you mentioned, I'm Flagler County's emergency management director, and today I brought with me Vitor Mira, one of our emergency management planners.
It's nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, this is excellent that you're here. So let me start it off a little bit. What brought you into emergency management?
Well, strangely enough, I didn't have any concept of emergency management during my time in my undergrad. I kind of discovered it accidentally. So my undergrad was compromised of me trying to get into the criminal justice field. Right. So I went to my 4 years, got my degree in New Jersey. And as I transitioned into the working force, I was employed at a company that's dedicated to sending out food, water, all the food services that are found in the ShopRights, the Price Rights in New Jersey. This was the parent company. So I was an asset protection compound supervisor. That's a long title.
Wow.
I hated having to say that when somebody would ask me. So during the winter season, I was in charge of making sure that the compound itself was clear of snow so that our trucks could get to the stores, deliver food, because as most of us tend to know, the stores kind of run out of the essentials when someone hears that something big is coming, right?
Sure.
So, happens down here, happens
Toilet
up
paper
there.
here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So same issues that you would find down here, you would find up there. And in that time, we would set up an EOC. And this is what is called a departmental EOC, where you have different representatives from each.
What does EOC stand for?
Oh, I'm sorry. Acronyms again.
Yeah.
That's the world I live in. So that's Emergency Operations Center.
Ah, okay.
Right. So that's where all of the departments would gather and coordinate, making sure that the mission was still green, that everything was flowing in and out without any kind of issue. Now we can kind of make sure that our compound and the area around our facilities were clear. I mean, we can't really say much for the rest of the town. That's up to the town to clear it out. But we always made sure that our facilities were clear and good to go. So during the time that I would have to sit in this EOC, this makeshift EOC, I realized that I was into it. Like my whole heart and brain were dedicated to the task. And I realized that I found a passion for this kind of work. Mm-hmm. So I started looking into what that was compromised of, what field might be more specific and catered to this kind of thing. And that's when I came across emergency management. So I began my postgraduate degree in the field. And I received my master's in science from John Jay College of Criminal Justice in New York City.
And so you were up there shoveling snow or making sure snow.
Yeah.
So somewhere along the line, you had this epiphany that maybe you didn't like shoveling snow, so you came down to Florida. How did that happen?
Well, funny enough, I didn't do much of the shoveling. We actually had a workforce dedicated to that task at hand. Sometimes we would have outside contractors come and assist. What I was more in charge of was the coordination of that effort, having the salt trucks come in, having the salt spreaders come in, and making sure that, the semi trucks weren't like plowing into each other in our yard.
So what brought you down here?
Family, as that. I'm sure that's most people.
It's a common Flagler County story.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
which is a good thing.
Simple answer. Yeah. Family wanted to come down here, wanted to start a life. Joined up with Flagler County in a different role when I first started, and just crossed my fingers that EM would open up eventually, and lo and behold, it did.
It did. Yes, it did. So, were you the hiring person that got a hold of them?
Yeah, we actually had someone leave our department. 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago.
2 years.
A couple years ago.
Yeah.
And someone had told me a rumor that there was a county employee that was interested in coming over to our department. And it's in that they have an interest in EM. I knew of Vitor because we'd worked with him, but not that he was interested in emergency management necessarily. So I actually decided for one of our openings at that point in time to post it internally first before going externally to see if somebody wanted to either laterally transfer or promote up into it from within the county. And lo and behold, it was Vitor.
Oh,
and he
excellent.
had a master's degree in emergency management, and which is not something that probably anybody else in the county that doesn't really work for emergency management had at the time. It was quite it's a very unique degree to have.
I'm sure that threw you for a loop when you first saw that.
Someone in another department actually has a degree in this.
Well, I have a set of notes here, and one of my notes has an acronym on it.
More, yep.
Oxcom.
Oxcom.
So what is Oxcom?
So Oxcom refers to auxiliary communications, and in the world of emergency management, that is our backup system for any communications that we need to send from ourselves to the outside world or receive from the outside world in. And that is if our main lines of communication go down. So think your phones, your cell phones, your internet,
the internet, yep.
all that fun stuff, everything that's kind of,
So is it sort of like
knock
satellite phone, or how does it work?
So as far as the specifics of how it works, that is usually dealt with by our Oxcom volunteers. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying I'm a little bit newer to the world of Oxcom, so I'm learning as I go.
Okay.
There's a lot of technical knowledge involved with it, and I'm trying to catch myself up to speed. But we do have a robust team of volunteers with I don't even know how many years of knowledge and experience under their belt. Decades, yeah. So this is from amateur enthusiasts all the way up to former director of communications for FEMA's field communications team, and a whole host of other positions that require a vast wealth of knowledge on their
and actually,
part.
to kind of build on that, so the reason we have it is in the middle of a disaster, emergency management's job is to make sure the government keeps running. That's our responsibility. It's a statutory responsibility. That's why we exist. And unfortunately, in Florida, we have disasters more frequently than most other places in the United States. So we're actually one of maybe the only state that every county has to have an emergency management department.
Yes.
It is actually
It's a requirement?
Yep,
It's a
state law. It's a requirement. And my position as emergency management director is the only local government position, department head position, that's actually defined by the state. They don't tell you what your police chief or sheriff should be. They don't tell you anything else. Public works director, not even your fire chief, but emergency management actually has minimum training and education requirements for my position, for the director position. And then the fact that we actually have to have an emergency management agency.
Right.
Every county. Cities don't have to have it because they can rely on the county. And cities can if they want. Most typically don't, because every city's within a county. The county
Right, you already have it.
Statutory has to do that. So one of our main goals in emergency management is to make sure that when everything bad is happening, hurricane for us here in Flagler County, the big one that people think of is hurricanes. And hurricanes come, cell towers go down, wires get ripped down. So that's why your internet goes out, your phone lines go down. Even our fancy things like the county's radio system, where the police and the fire talk back to the 911 center, very high-tech, super robust system, but in the middle of something like a hurricane, all bets are off.
Right.
So we actually rely on, some people would say we go back to analog. So we rely on very old-fashioned technology that is super robust. So some people may know the term ham radio operators.
Yeah.
It's not a super common term anymore. It's a dying hobby. But those
Sadly,
are really,
I am one.
which is excellent. All of our staff are. Actually, I require that all of our staff are. And the team of volunteers that Vitor was talking about, they are all ham radio enthusiasts, hobbyists that want to do a little bit more than just the hobby side
Sure.
and come out and help us out. So we have newer equipment that works on the older technology. So we do have satellite equipment. We have Starlink as a backup. It's not as good as having a fiber line, right? But when the line gets torn out, we can rely on Starlink. We have satellite phones too.
Iridium phones.
Commercial satellite phones in case the regular phone system goes down. You can go stand outside and hit a satellite and reestablish communications.
Sure.
And then we have this ham radio equipment, but newer versions of the old ham radio equipment, so that we can do old-fashioned voice communications, high-frequency communications, where we can talk to Tallahassee, where we can talk to DC,
Sure.
using that the older type of technology. when all the fancy new stuff stops working.
Wow.
And we all know that. And Florida is it's I think Floridians are very well aware of that, because the one thing I can guarantee you, even in a small hurricane, maybe it's only for a few minutes, but it could be for days, we will lose power. It could be for a few minutes and you get it right back up, and we will lose our cell signals, which is what we all rely on. But we can't lose that. We have to have alternate ways.
Yeah, sure.
Because if the disaster is big enough, we need help from elsewhere. And we need to be able to radio out for help.
Yes.
So that's why we invest in this infrastructure, to make sure we have it.
Well, locally, we've been lucky
Knock on wood. Yes.
about direct hits so
Very
far.
lucky.
But it is true. It is pure luck. I mean,
Oh, yeah, pure luck.
the panhandle of Florida back in 2019, 18. Don't hold me on the years. I think it was 19. Hurricane Michael was the first Category 5 hit storm to ever in recorded history to hit the Panhandle. The Panhandle has weaker building codes than we do, because they said they were immune to Category 5 storms, and it was an East Coast problem or a Southern Florida problem. So that just proves that, you know, at the end of the day, we're on borrowed time. I don't want anyone to be afraid of that. We build our homes to be somewhat hurricane resilient here in the state of Florida. Depending on where you are, the homes are stronger than other areas. We have a robust emergency management team. I'm just a guy that gets to call himself the director, right? It's really the team of people and partners that we work with that really make it all happen. I'm just one person, and it's not me that does all the work. It's all these other players that do all the work, made up of governments and nonprofit groups that work together for us. But we have to make sure that we can communicate with them all, and having this backup technology when the fancy new stuff that can do a lot more. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying we should only have the backup.
No, of course.
The
Yeah.
fancy new stuff does so much more than this backup technology can ever do.
Yeah.
But
Right.
at the end of the day, we still need some way to communicate, and we have to go back to basics and go back to technology that was created in the early 1900s. It works. It still works. And that is what the auxiliary communications team is all about.
Yep.
And then we were just so lucky because of the fact that we are an active retiree community. Much of Flagler County is active retirees, right? More so than percentage-wise than many other counties, that we have these group of people that are retired, but still young enough and able-bodied enough to get out and about and want to do stuff for their community that they live in now, serve their community, that we really tap into these volunteers. Our last podcast, we talked a lot about volunteers in general, but the team that Vitor oversees is this auxiliary communications group, and they truly are amazing. That the fact that they spend the time and effort to help us keep this, lifeline up for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That. I understand it. I'm also a ham radio, also known as amateur radio operator. I used to live in the Caribbean for a while, and down there I was on their equivalent of an emergency management team as a amateur radio operator, volunteer there too. So I understand that completely. That's pretty cool.
And a lot of other communities, I'm not going to pick on my peers too much, but a lot of other counties have started discounting some of this old equipment because you get so comfortable with the fact that the internet's always there, or the fact that the fancy $10,000 radio that I can talk to 911 center is always going to work because the tower is always standing.
Right.
I'm afraid to get that comfortable, but that's my job to be afraid to get that comfortable. I want to make sure that we have these backup things that aren't reliant on the new technology.
It's really smart.
And I hope we never have to use it. I mean, that's my wish every year for Flagler County, that we never have to use it. But I don't want us to get into that scenario where we do need it and someone go, we let that go away 10 years ago.
Yeah. So you have a co-op program.
Okay.
What's the co-op program?
So the COOP, or the continuity of operations / continuity of government plan.
COOP.
Yeah. So it reads like co-op, but it's not actually co-op.
Okay.
Is once again just another acronym in my bag of them that I can just pull out right now. But it is essentially what Jonathan had alluded to, the continuation of government and making sure that we still have that constitutional government in the event of something happening, right? So as part of a COOP plan, we have a base plan that involves all of our essential functions, what we need to run effectively. And as far as a COOP plan goes, it's not a complete running of your programs. It's basic essentials, right? Just to make sure that we can provide service to the community in the event of a large-scale event. I guess for an example, I can give the exercise that we recently did back in June, I believe it was. We tested the emergency management COOP plan, and each department in the county has their own individual appendix to the plan that outlines what they do for their specific department in the event of something happening to their building or something happening in the county.
All right.
So we created a scenario where we had a EF5 tornado roll through, go right over the EOC and up Bunnell into one of the neighboring neighborhoods just north of us. And what that helped me do was test our COOP plan, right? So I informed Jonathan that a tornado came through this area. I am requesting that we activate our COOP. Jonathan authorized it, and we moved all of our backup communication equipment, which he alluded to, the Starlink system, the mobile internet system, everything that we have to operate in a different environment. We mobilized, we took the team out there, we set it all up in our backup location and tested all our functionality and the ability to operate our emergency operations center from a different location. So that is, in simplest terms, the way our COOP plan is set up for our department, right? We have all of our necessary equipment on standby. When I mobilize it, when I authorize it, we bring everything out there. The team follows with us. If need be, we activate volunteers. If need be, we activate other departments, and they will meet us at that location, and we'll run it as though we have our actual building until we can reconstruct and get everything back to working order.
So when you say you're moving your stuff to a different location, are you actually physically moving equipment over there, or do you have a double setup?
No, we are physically moving our equipment. We have Pelican cases, the hard rolling containers that we keep all of our necessary equipment. So we have backup laptops, we have backup like office equipment, easel pads, portable projectors that we could put up on the wall, all of our communications equipment, our own personal laptops and everything that we may need, which is all outlined in our plan, what we need to run for a certain amount of time. And we bring everything with us. We have a van that we transport there that we can put this all in. And usually, people will load up their personal vehicles or a couple of our fleet vehicles with other equipment if we need more than more equipment to go over there for sure.
So what Vitor walked through is what we did for our COOP, but one of his primary roles with the county is to make sure every county department has a similar plan in place. So if the main building they're operating out of is impacted, what are your top 5 priorities to make sure you can continue providing service to our residents, to our businesses and residents in our community? And if you can only do 3 of them, then we're going to pick off the top 3. What do you need if your building is damaged, flooding, fire, whatever it is, tornado? What do you need to reestablish that service? And do you have an automatic backup building? Or if not, it's just a suite of needs. And then we can find you that backup building and say, okay, here's everything you need to do that. And that's super important because we go back to that hurricane center, even a hurricane scenario. Just the same way your home could potentially get damaged in a hurricane, government buildings can get damaged too. We try to build them strong so they can keep operating, especially the Emergency Operations Center. It really is probably the strongest building in the county, but you never know. Mother Nature may throw something different at us. It could be something strange falling out of the sky. You never know, right?
You don't know.
So we tell our residents to always be prepared. I mean, that's what we spend most of our lives doing, is we're going out and meeting with community groups saying, hey, this is what you need to be prepared in case you have to evacuate your home. We need to do the same thing for government because at the end of the day, we can't go, oh, a hurricane quit. We can't take care of it.
Yeah, we can't.
Government can't do that. Business can say, hey, we're going to close down for a couple of days until we reevaluate.
Right. We
can't do that, and that's not right for us to do that to our residents who pay taxes and our businesses who pay taxes.
Pay to keep you.
We have to run the whole time, so we have to have these other scenarios in place. So we make sure every department can do that.
So you have your own, I don't know what you call it, backup building that you could move to, but all the other departments, obviously there isn't a slew of backup buildings all around.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
how do you manage that?
Honestly, most of it's community centers.
Yes.
The county's community centers.
Right. Okay.
Because at the end of the day, if someone's renting it for a birthday party, we can say sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
At the end of the day, we need to run this department out of this building, and sorry, that takes precedence.
Sure.
Right.
Take care of the community.
And depending on your job function, you can also have remote capabilities, which is a newer thing nowadays after COVID. We kind of saw the importance of being able to back up, but also back up in a way that didn't require a building for every single department, right?
So they could operate remotely off their laptops or whatever, but not have to be in the same location.
Yeah, we can. In today's world, you can push as long as the internet is working, right?
Yeah, as long
you
as
can
the
do a lot
internet's working,
remotely.
right.
You can push phone calls to somebody's laptop.
Sure.
You can take their desk phone and just make it ring on their laptop.
Yep.
That's not even that fancy in today's world, right?
Right.
Sure.
That's
Right.
super common. So if we can do that and internet's working,
Oh,
then
yes.
we can have certain not public facing operations work from home. And those that like a permitting office, we need to make sure we establish an office where people can walk in and still get permits.
Right.
And actually, even the state of Florida has taken that very seriously. Last year, during the legislative session, they actually passed something called Senate Bill 180, which was a part of it. And lots of things in it, but a piece I'll highlight is a lot of the cities and counties on the west coast of Florida near Tampa that couldn't reopen all their government services. Permitting is one of them. So the state legislature got a little frustrated about that and actually mandated that there's time windows in which you must reestablish certain services. They don't care that your building washed away. You have to have a plan in place ahead of time that says how many staff do you need, where you're going to get them from, because if your staff are impacted, where are you getting your backup staff from? Because your community is trying to recover, and the one thing you can't tell them no is I can't issue you a permit.
Right.
So so we were, I think, a million miles ahead of that because of the COOP program that Vitor oversees and runs, because that is one of the kind of departments that we work through backup plans with already.
Yes.
Now it's mandated for that particular department.
Sure.
For every single county and city in the state of Florida. So for us, it was, well, we got that already. We're good. For other communities,
Check that box.
other communities are going, darn, we have to get this done by next June, which is the date that they have to do it.
Right.
So for us, it was we have to do this and just edit this a little bit, and we were good. So that's lucky that we already had this program.
So with your COOP program, do you then meet with, I guess, of each of the municipalities in our county, do you meet with department heads, make sure that their form of their COOP program is up to date, that they have everything ready, and that you're familiar with it, so that when things go down, and eventually, we will probably someday be hit by a hurricane, and then you get to test it for real.
Oh yeah.
But when
We're
that
not trying
happens,
to. We're not.
no, I understand, but you have to be ready for it.
Yeah, of course.
So, do you meet with all the various department heads and make sure that they've set up their essential list and whatever?
Yes, I coordinate with, we call them COOP coordinators. And for the most part, it's the department head of that particular department or someone that they designate in their place. And I collaborate with them on a yearly basis to say, hey, this is your plan. Is this all still relevant? Is the technology still the same? Is the process still the same? Are the same players still in here? Because we do outline lines of succession in case that person is no longer able to do it. Then they go to the next senior, et cetera, et cetera. So are those same individuals still employed by the county, or have they moved to a different department? Because if they have, I need to update my information so that I know who the next person in charge may be if you're not available.
Sure.
Every year I make sure that I coordinate with them, whether it be through phone call, email, meeting. Some people need meetings, right? And I make sure that everything is squared away and that we're good to go in the event that something does come unexpectedly.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm envisioning you and your job as sort of like you at the center of a spider web, and you have to reach out all around you
That sounds
to
right.
all the other municipalities and everything, and hope something else doesn't get stuck in the way.
Sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
That's
a busy job.
A web is a very good analogy there for sure. Yeah.
That's a really busy job. So we're sort of coming towards the end. Is there any last things you'd like to say to people, so to familiarize people with what you do a little bit more and how maybe some volunteers could get involved?
Since we spoke to Oxcom, I always try to plug Oxcom as a way to become involved with the county. If you have that technical background, if you're looking to do something a little bit more with it, we're always looking for people to join our team and kind of enhance those capabilities and strengthen our ability to be more effective in the event that we need to bring it out. It's a great team. It's a fantastic volunteer opportunity. And I'm proud to say that we have a very robust volunteer base, not only under Oxcom, but through other services, the emergency, our emergency support team, EST, and our EM volunteers at the EOC specifically, which we wouldn't be able to do half of what we do without their assistance for sure.
That's great. So how do they get in contact with you? Or who do they get in contact if they want to volunteer?
They can go to our website at flaglercounty.gov/emergency, and we have our volunteer sign up there under the trainings page, I believe.
There's a button that says volunteer right in the page.
And they can sign up through there. They can contact us directly at the EOC. We do have our number on our website. It'll take them right to the front desk.
What's the website?
flaglercounty.gov/emergency. And as far as anything else for me, I guess a fun fact, I also do drone work for the county itself. If I'm going to plug a little bit more about myself.
Sure. That's what you're here for.
That was more
we need to know you.
That was more of a hobby that somehow turned into a part of my working thing. It's like a little offshoot to what I do. But yes, I am part of the UAS team, the Unmanned Aerial Systems team for the county. And we do anything from beach erosion flights to just wildfire flights, to supporting other agencies when they need us to support them, to doing FEMA building inspections by gathering imagery pre-season and post-season, just in case there's any kind of damages in between there. Sure. We can prove that. And it's fun. It's something that I enjoy doing when I have some time, or when Jonathan lets me go out there and do it. But I am Part 107 certified, which you have to be able to do commercial flights. And we try to get a little fun with it, use it for our socials sometimes, use it for just some outreach events to kind of see if we can get a younger crowd involved in there, or people who may be interested in emergency management, but are maybe in the UAS background and don't know how to combine the two.
Sure.
So there's always that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Super important for us with the drone program that we do not do any regulatory enforcement. That's not emergency management's world. Correct. So we do not fly anything for enforcement purposes.
Right.
Sure. That is outside of our
checking things out.
If that was done, that would be other departments. That would not be us.
Correct.
For us, there's a tie back to public safety and emergency.
Sure.
Very true.
Well, do you have any last words before we?
I think it's important. So we talked about the COOP program a little bit today, and the volunteer program. The COOP program is also a program that on one of the previous podcasts that we talked about with Kelly Steffens, that we also offer a similar program for businesses to help them develop COOP plans. So it's not just about us taking care of government. We want to help build up the resiliency of our local businesses. So through the same website, you can request assistance, and we will work with a local business to build a business-specific COOP plan as well. And Kelly oversees.
I remember the episode. I remember the discussion.
So it's not just if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander kind of thing. We're not just saying that you should do it and that we shouldn't do it, or vice versa.
Right.
We believe everyone should have backup plans, and whether you call it a COOP plan or whatever you call it, whatever acronym you want to use, we want to help enable our community to be just as prepared as their government is, but also reassure them that your government is prepared. Won't go, oh, we were impacted, we can't help you.
Right.
So it's on both sides. I think our website's a great resource for folks who have access to the internet, flaglercounty.gov/emergency. For those that may listen or watch this podcast and aren't necessarily as robust on the internet, you can get preparedness information or even get information on the programs we talked about today by calling our main number, which is 386-313-4200. And one of our wonderful volunteers will actually answer that phone line 90% of the time. And if they can't answer the question, they'll transfer it to one of the staff. But we only have 6 staff, so we're a small department.
Oh, I didn't realize.
But when big disasters happen, we grow to about 100 some odd people, because we kidnap folks from cities, from other departments, from nonprofits, all become part of the big team. So we truly appreciate that our community is so helpful to help build that team in an emergency. And we currently have about 25, give or take 1 or 2, based on the day, active volunteers. Whether it's Auxcom or the other programs that we've spoken about on previous podcasts, and we'd really love to have more of our great residents join that team if they have the time or inkling to do so.
That's awesome. Well, we're just about out of time, so I appreciate you gentlemen coming in. Love learning more about it. Never heard of the program that you do, so I'm glad that you came in and got it known so that people out there can understand more of what's actually happening during emergencies in our city, like wildfires that we've had in the not so distant past.
Exactly.
And hurricanes. People are worried about hurricanes, but they could get a little more comfort if they contacted you and understood what the emergency management was all about in our area.
Yep.
So again, appreciate you coming in, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.